And just in today, a Saudi-run school is again under the microscope in Virginia. The director of the Islamic Saudi Academy has been arrested on obstruction of justice charges as protesters renew their calls for a federal investigation of the school's teaching. Fox's Griff Jenkins has more on this. Griff, you were there this morning. You were at this protest. It wasn't that big of a protest, but you found out some interesting stuff.
A very interesting morning and afternoon, Laura. The protesters were organized by the Traditional Values Coalition. They were organized because the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom found in text obtained from multiple sources that were being used and taught in that school had some hateful things, anti-Semitic things, and even in one passage said that things that it was permissible for a Muslim to kill an apostate, a convert from Islam, an adulterer, or someone who had murdered a believer. Now that, of course, raised the ire of even the State Department.
Well, I'm an apostate, right? So I'm in that list.
There you go. The State Department then got interested as they monitor these things and said, about a year ago, to this school in particular, you got to clean that up. So I went down to investigate that. Here's what Andrea Lafferty, the executive director, the protester, had to say today.
What they're teaching here is deception. What they're teaching here is dangerous. It's violence and it's hate and it's anti-Semitic. And we're, again, here to lift the veil.
Now, Laura, I immediately went up to the school and said, listen, I'd like to speak to the headmaster, who in this case is called a director general. His name is Abdullah Shabnan. Yeah. And they said, come back in 2 hours, you can talk to him. Went back in 2 hours, couldn't talk to him. The director of education, David Kovalek, came out. Here's what he had to say. The State Department has asked that this sort of thing be cleaned up, I think, by August, which is the end of the year. Are you aware that the State Department has asked that you sanitize or clean or change the text?
Yes, and to my knowledge, we've already done that, yes. Yeah, we took immediate action about a year ago.
Now, also, breaking on the wires this afternoon, a report that the Director General, Shabnan, was arrested on June 9th in an unrelated matter for obstructing justice and failing to report a child abuse case that came to him on May 12th. And my sources say on this case, Laura, the big implication is what's being taught in these Saudi-funded schools elsewhere in the country, hundreds if not thousands of them that we don't know about.
Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at any of these other schools, see if these textbooks have been cleaned up, but this raises a lot of questions and very interesting development on the other charges. Griff Jenkins, we appreciate it. Now let's bring in another voice, Ahmed Bedier, who's a Muslim civil rights activist. This is beyond disturbing, Ahmed, and I understand that folks are saying, well, if there were objectionable things in these textbooks, they've been cleaned up. Well, I'm trying to put the shoe on the other foot. I'm trying to imagine the Vatican funding schools in the United States that then say horrific things about Muslims or other people, ask for their treatment of them to be just terrible and saying horrible things about them. I imagine the Washington Post, the New York Times, every media outlet in this country going after the Vatican and demanding that this stop. What do you say about this?
We don't have to imagine it. And by the way, congratulations on your show. We don't have to imagine it. It happens all the time. I mean, Hagee was saying anti-Muslim stuff for quite some time. Falwell, Robertson.
Hagee and Falwell aren't Catholics. That's a bad example.
Well, there's plenty of hate, anti-Muslim hate out there.
No.
And,
okay, Ahmed, we just brought to our viewers a very disturbing story that's been covered by Fox over the last few weeks, okay? There are things in these textbooks that have since been cleansed that actually call for violence against innocents. And my question to you tonight is, to be a faithful Muslim is certainly then not to carry out these types of horrible things in these textbooks, is it not? And if not, why did it end up in a textbook?
Of course it's not, and I would challenge this commission, which I think even to all the reports out there indicate that they did not actually ever visit the school, never seen their actual textbooks. What they had to do is they went and rounded up some outdated textbooks from Saudi Arabia and assumed that these are the same textbooks being used right here in Virginia. That's not comparing apples to apples. So I think that the report itself is not credible.
Okay, so you're saying these passages were never in this Saudi Islamic Academy in Northern Virginia? You must be doing reporting that we're not able to do here at Fox, because that's not what we've discovered. We did an independent study, and we had our own independent Arabic speakers and translators looking at these textbooks, and the stuff is disturbing. I frankly don't even want to put the full screen on our television sets across this country because it's that disturbing. And my point consistently is that moderate Muslims need to speak out against this. Don't make excuses, and don't compare it to, you know, whatever, the Da Vinci Code or Hagee or Falwell. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, you invited me here to answer some questions. So as far as these types of passages in any textbooks is completely unacceptable and should never belong there. What I'm saying is these passages are not in the textbooks, and I've talked to the school officials. Let me finish. I talked to school officials today, and they said that anyone is welcome to come and review the materials in their textbooks. And what's disturbing is that this bias report is putting the lives of young children that go to the school at risk by these nut jobs that go hang out at the corner and are willing to take action against some children.
The fact that, I appreciate it, we're out of time, but the fact that this stuff was in these textbooks, I'm not hearing anything that makes me feel any better about that. But I appreciate your stand up to come on the show. I really appreciate it.